Content warning. The stories and themes shared throughout this podcast may contain themes that can be distressing for you. If needed, please pause and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If needed, please reach out to a mental health professional for support.
Welcome back to another episode of Resilient A.F. with Blair and Alana. And hello. Hi.
Good morning. Hello. I say good morning because we're recording this
Yeah,
in the morning.
it's 6 a.m. for me.
Yeah, we're doing a little pre-Alana work
Um,
record session.
no one could see this, but I'm wearing a Resilient A.F. shirt, and I was so excited because I wore it yesterday to an event locally, and anyways, I woke up and there's a big chocolate stain like smushed into it. So I'm like, fuck, was it like that at the event? I don't think it was, but that's fine. So we have had a crazy few months, and it feels like the last 2 months has been 12 months long. And
Oh,
like February was just bananas in pajamas. And so today we're gonna recap what the last couple weeks have looked like, kicking it off with Grief Week.
yeah. We're gonna kick it off with Grief Week. I just had a microphone situation happen, so
You're fine.
um all good. All
Yeah.
right.
Um, so I think what you need to know out there who don't like really know who we are, we live in different cities in Canada. And Alana lives somewhere with like a major airport and more direct or like somewhat direct flights to other big airports. Where I live, it's a small regional airport. And so like sometimes flying out of where I live is a bit more complicated. And so this year for Grief Week, we went to Palm Springs. And so Grief Week started off with me driving 2 hours in a snowstorm to a different airport and getting a million notifications that my flight was, there was no staff. My flight was getting moved. My flight was back on track. My flight was late. My connection was late. And basically, it was extremely chaotic. And it was like at like 5 a.m., I was on the phone with WestJet trying to like figure that all out. And I got to the airport and they couldn't even find my reservation. And it was just chaotic. And our dead dad day, the day that Leonard died, is February 18th, and this is all February 17th. And they actually said to me, like, the only solution might be like, we'll get you to Vancouver and then we'll get you there on the 18th. I'm like, well, that's not going to work. But I just
Hmm.
had to like trust a higher power was going to get me there. And I ended up getting there like with my original flights because everyone was late. And that happened to be the day the plane flipped upside down in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a quite a travel day. And then on my end, every like I had to so where I live, a couple days a week they have direct flights to Palm Springs, but we would be again because we don't fly on death days. Um, I had to take a connecting flight through Vancouver, which was actually pretty fine and everything. However, when I got there, um, where we were staying, we also got a rental car. And the lineup to get this rental car, I think because everyone uses this one,
Costco package.
it, yeah, Costco package, um, was over an hour and a half. And I sort of befriended the people behind me, aka they just started talking to me and I responded. Um, but then when we went to go get the car, or when I went to go get my car, they had upgraded us to a an electric car,
Like fancy electric car.
fancy, which I've never driven before. So that was an experience. They are different than a gas-powered car. But by then, the time I like did all that and got to where we were staying, I had only had 2 hours of sleep the night before because my flight was at like 6 a.m., which means I had to wake up at 4 a.m. and I always get the pre-trip anxieties. So I didn't sleep. So I was originally supposed to go pick up Blair, but then I just like could not move. Um,
So I took a very expensive Uber.
yeah. Um, but then we made it together. We were there together.
Yeah, and so this resort was amazing. So just like to start off,
Hmm.
like we had phenomenal weather. This
Yeah.
resort was amazing. The beds were very comfortable. We had a couple hiccups that they handled like well, and we'll talk about that in a second. And yeah, like I would, and the pool is amazing. Lots of places to like
Hmm.
lie down in the sun. And like if we go, well, when we go back to Palm Springs, I would love to stay there again for Grief Week in the
Hmm.
future. And I just love Palm Springs. It's just like you land, it's an outdoor airport, it's
It's
warm.
the best.
It's the best. Like I see myself living there and I'm like very quickly morphing into a full golden girl. Like, we got matching
Yeah.
visors from Indian Wells, which is the community it was in, and like I bought this like shawl for $10 and I looked in the mirror and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm a golden girl. This is great."
Yeah.
So, Dead Dad Day. I actually some childhood friends, like a friend of mine, Pam, that I've had for like 30 years from Winnipeg. I knew she was in Palm Springs the same time, so I messaged her and it just so happened her cousin from Toronto that lives in Toronto was staying at the same resort. And so we ended up spending Dead Dad Day with my friends and their kids.
Hmm.
And it was just so lovely and like nice. And we all went for dinner. And it was just like, to me, like Dead Dad Day, this was like a very beautiful way to spend it, like in the sun with friends.
Yeah, it was great. And we started the day off with a nice walk in the morning too.
Oh, yeah, I
And
did yoga.
you did yoga. I went to Target. We all get our calm in different ways. Mine is
Alana went for
Target.
a relaxing walk in Target.
Yeah. But yeah, it was lovely. Like if you're just like tuning in now, every grief week we've had like little hiccups. Most of the time the weather's not the best and um other things kind of happen. But I would say like I mean the weather, I keep saying weather because it really was the best.
It was the best. It was best. Like we like laid in the sun all day, every day. Like we woke up, we'd hot walk or hot tub, usually
Yeah.
both, lie by the pool, switch out of bathing suits, put another bun on, go to the pool again. Like it was great.
Yeah.
Um, so a couple days into our trip, we had this situation. Um, I may or may not have also had an edible. And so we're like so excited to get into bed. I like go have like the best shower of my life. And
Yeah.
Alana's like, Blair, we have a problem. I'm like, no, what's the problem? And you're like, there's bugs. And
But I wasn't like 100% sure because I may or may not have also had an edible.
and so we're like looking and there's like hundreds,
They're like fruit fly
hundreds
esque.
like of these like fruit fly things, but all over the walls, anywhere there was a light. And like this wasn't like a case of, oh, we left the window open, but like again, we weren't sure. So we called the front desk and they send up this
Hmm.
very nice older gentleman from housekeeping. Oh no, sorry, from engineering. He comes and looks at it and he's like, okay. And he's like, I'll be right back. And so now Lana and I are in bed. It's like what, 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
And
Past
I
your bedtime.
I fucking lost it. He comes back with a massive vacuum and he starts vacuuming the walls, the ceiling, the corners. Like he was in there for like 20 minutes
Yeah.
vacuuming. And then he like proceeded to check our patio door. And so we thought maybe, okay, maybe we did leave it open. We don't really know. So he shut it. And then Alana and I were like, so like that was really funny. And we're like, okay, like that won't happen again. But then the next morning was kind of frustrating. Like there was like some weird construction above our room and I was like having to take a call. That was annoying, but whatever. And we complained just because like we should be able to like work in our hotel room or they need to warn us if there's going to be like drilling.
Hmm.
And they gave us a credit for some, food, which was awesome. But then the next night, we didn't touch the patio because we were both
We
fucking
were
scared.
nervous.
We were nervous. And so same thing happens. Alana's like, "Oh no." And by the lamp by Alana's bed, they were back.
Hmm.
Well, they weren't back because the ones that were there were sucked into the vacuum, but like the bugs were there.
Yeah.
And they sent another guy from engineering to vacuum up the bugs. And then the next morning at 7 a.m., we went down in our pajamas and asked for a new room.
Hmm.
Again, I felt like they gaslit us kind of like, oh, like maybe like it's the desert. And like, I'm like, no, no, we're Canadian. Like, I live in the woods. Like, I know bugs exist in nature, but this was not normal. And like, Alana made videos. So they were really
Yeah.
sweet. They upgraded us, they moved us to a new room. It was like obviously very frustrating to have to pack and then like unpack in grief week, but c'est la vie. Or-
And like the person who
They were
helped move our
also like the staff
luggage,
was
like
just so
everyone was
lovely.
so
Like they
lovely
gave
and
us
they gave
another
us another
credit.
credit.
Yeah. Which was great because the coffee was so expensive and the Canadian dollar to the American dollar is terrible. But yeah, it was just like they upgraded us. It was great. Very lovely. We did more lying by the pool, more Target, Trader Joe's.
Hmm.
The day before Dead Mom Day, I met a DJ when I was speaking in Costa Rica. So he's an Israeli DJ that lives in the US, in California. And I met him in Costa Rica at the event I was speaking at, and it was happened to be his birthday, and he and his friends that flew in from all over the world rented this like really beautiful house, the Invisible House. You may have heard of it in Joshua Tree, and so I decided to go out for the day and like hang out with some of my new friends that I made in Costa Rica, and hang out and relax and do some dancing. And for me, it was just like I love dancing and I love DJs and I just love cool fucking people. And like everyone there was just so interesting. I had so much fun. And I was home in bed by what, 10? 10:30?
Yeah, yeah,
10:30. I was home.
10:30.
Yeah, like and
10:30.
driving the electric car on the highway, oof, that is fun. Like it is very easy to go fast. Like yeah, I loved it. And it's so funny because like Alana and I, this is where we are so different. So like I go basically have a dance party in the desert.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Ooh, like I'm gonna go to the spa." So I had booked something called like it was like a CBD wellness soak, and I was like, "That sounds interesting. It's somewhat affordable compared to other treatments." So I go into the spa area, have a lovely time in like the cushioned chairs outside and the hot tub, have this wellness soak. I'm lying on some mat. It's like a PMF or something mat with like these goggles that massage your eyes and in this bath. It was great. And then I ordered room service, caught up on the Traders and other Bravo shows that I had missed, and probably was
Yeah.
asleep by like 8:39.
Yeah, it was great. And she had leftover salad and fries for me to eat, so that was nice.
Yeah,
So, Dead Mom Day was the next day, and it was lovely. We woke up and had a hot tub
right.
and then and laid by the pool. Like, because I got home late, we woke up like every day we were like, let's go for a hike. So, like, if you're wondering if we ever went to Alana's favorite hike, we didn't.
No,
We didn't. We did not hike.
but I
So
don't regret it.
no, like whatever's meant to be is meant to be.
Yeah.
So we lie by the pool, and then we went to meet um, one of our mom's friends, and she's known us our entire lives.
Yeah.
At I call it a swap meet. Alana calls it a flea market.
Yeah. But apparently it's called both. I'm
Oh
actually
yeah.
not even sure what it is actually called.
Yeah, but it was really nice, and we actually ran into other people who knew our mom, and like, and I ran into my friend Pam's mom and dad, which was really nice, and that's where I bought my like $10 granny shawl, which I'll debut at my Sparkles and Shine Still Raving. No, I lied. Lordy Lordy Still Raving at 40. That's the theme of my one of my birthday parties this summer. I'll debut it that weekend, but it was really nice. And Alana and I bought like again part of our morphing into Golden Girls. We bought matching
Oh, I have it.
trivets.
I have
We bought
it.
these like
Do I
pom-pom trivets. Shane loved it so much. He's like, "Oh my God,
really?
do they have rugs?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I gave him the business card. I'm like, "But the rugs were so expensive." He's like, "Of course, it's gonna be like the size we want. It's gonna be thousands of dollars. So it's for the future."
So I don't cook. Um, so trivets, I'm told, are for like hot plates, but it's just going to be decor for me. If you're watching the video, I'm holding it up right now. It's like
And
colorful
it's
and
like pom-poms.
beautiful.
It's like yeah,
Yeah.
it's like these wool balls, very
Yeah.
colorful. So mine's in the middle of my coffee table with a vase of tulips on it. And
That's
it's
nice.
great. It brings a lot of color to the room, and my room's quite monotone. Like it's very gray. So I love
Hmm.
it. And like I think a rug would look really cool. Like it would really brighten up that space in there.
It
So
would be so awesome.
maybe that's like one of my get out of debt free, not free, get out of my in my head. I'm like, get out of jail free, get out of my debt presents. I don't know. So and yeah, it was really nice. And like the saddest I was on Grief Week was when it ended.
Yeah,
And
me too.
before we start to talk about the LA part of our trip, um, so I'm 39 years old, and I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 39 years old, only in the fall, and right now it's March. And I realized like with with this medication, like who I really am and like what I was missing out on. But like one of the like really terrible things about ADHD is like you have to still have to remember to do things that like sometimes it just like feels hard, like getting refills on
Hmm.
prescriptions. And because I've been traveling so much, I totally forgot this happened, but like my prescription ran out and the pharmacy was able to give me like an emergency month before New York. And I got home
Mm.
and I was like, okay, I need more pills. And I couldn't get into my doctor. I was like, oh, they'll just maybe give me, and I didn't know they couldn't extend. I don't know the rules. Like, this is my first
Yeah.
rodeo on the pills. And so I learned a lesson the hard way, and like they couldn't extend and I couldn't get in. So I had one emergency pill I was saving for the Oscars event. Because, like, if
Yeah.
I need a day to be dialed, that's the day. And they were able to give me two emergency pills. So I had three emergency ADHD pills to make last for 2.5 weeks. And
Hmm.
also during this time, I was like, towards the end, I was PMSing and like so tired. Like a 2 month launch, like, I'm not complaining. I'm very lucky and privileged and grateful, but like I'm tired. Like I'm someone who likes to lie on the couch and watch cats, pet my cats and watch TV. Um,
Hmm.
and so I was definitely feeling it like in LA. So I took one of the pills I took the day I went out to Joshua Tree because I needed that extra like energy and focus for driving on the highway and like staying up later than 8 p.m. because we kind of went to bed at like 8 p.m. every night and slept for 11 hours
Yeah.
during grief week. So I was very careful about rationing my extra pill because one was for the Oscars event. So we take the electric car. We have to pack up our room. We pack the car. We have to take the car back to the airport. Now we have to exchange it for a different rental car
Hmm.
because now we have to go to LA. And I drive. It's great. Alana made a phenomenal playlist.
It's so
Super
good.
into it. I like fell in love with Jochi. And there's other songs I haven't found them yet because I've been listening to
Oh,
Doechii on repeat. I love
yeah.
her song Catfish, and the song that just came out, Anxiety, is what kept me up in the middle of the night. Like it's just when my pill wears off, my brain goes on a journey, and like I'm in a music festival basically. And at 1 a.m., her
Oh
song
my
Anxiety.
gosh, when you said you had anxiety in your head, I thought you were just externalizing your
No,
own
the song.
anxiety.
No, the song was on loop for an hour in my
Yeah.
head, and I was like, "Oh my God, I can't go back to sleep. Like, shut up, brain." I was like,
That's
Alana, I'm
funny.
so tired. I woke up in the middle of the night and anxiety was stuck in my head. But I was referring to the song, not having anxiety. But now I have
Yeah.
anxiety because I didn't sleep well, but the pill's kicking in, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, so we go to LA, we get the car, I drive. It was all fine, but like once you get to LA, there's like a lot of different freeways, and you make one wrong turn, and you're all of a sudden like not where you need to be. And
Yeah.
we stopped for a coffee, and that was really helpful because like I had to pee, and we needed to refuel. And then we decided I really wanted to stay in Venice Beach because Alana had never really been, and I love Venice Beach. Like it's just to me, it's like my vibe. Like it's very colorful. I love the canals. I just love the homes, the people, like the diversity, and like
Hmm.
um, and like, so we rented this place, and it wasn't through like an Airbnb or anything. We did it through a hotel website that also has other accommodations. And I would say that accommodation was so expensive and a fail.
Huge fail.
Like we had it for 2 nights, and Alana hated it so much. Well, I did too, but Alana hated it so much that she just like called where our other hotel and she asked if we can come a day early. Um,
I
this
was also trying to like preserve our relationship because I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
if we
Alana and I
stay
were
here,
cringy. Okay, so this
yeah,
place we didn't sleep. So this place was like main floor, like studio suite. The bathroom was bigger than the rest of the place. The bathroom was the best part. Had like window, it had skylights. Like it was great,
hmm,
whatever. But the bed was comfy, but the place was like dank and musty. Like it had that
yeah,
smell of like mold and
yeah,
must. But what was even worse was that they had one of those automatic air fresheners that automatically went off every half an hour. And it was so loud. Like I would wake up to psh,
yeah,
psh, and so but then the house smelled like the air freshener covering up must.
yeah,
And it wasn't even a good smelling air freshener. It smelled cheap
and strong.
and strong. And so, anyways, we complained. The guy that was managing the property was like, I would say, a dick. I never leave negative reviews. I couldn't get like refunded for that night because they said that we didn't give them adequate time to solve the problem. Like, unless you're gonna do a reno.
Well, and the owner or the person who manages was out of the country, so I'm not sure what he was going to do within 12 hours. So
Yeah, but I do want to say like the Maria, one of the people who was managing like the cleaning and what, she was lovely. I lost my credit card,
very
helped it a
lovely.
bit in the dryer. She was really lovely, but yeah, so I did something I never do, and I don't really like to leave bad reviews, but like I felt like I just want to warn people, like if you're gonna come here, it stinks.
Yeah.
And like so anyways, we moved to the where the event was. It was great. It was actually good that we were there when we were there. So the next
Hmm.
day, like we set up. So this year for the Oscars gifting lounge, we did some things a bit different. This is our third gifting lounge. Thank you. Shout out to Heather Mariana, who puts this on.
Does
And
a wonderful job.
yeah, it was just a really great event. We got a lot of great feedback from people enjoying themselves, and I
Hmm.
told Heather that. So this year we got custom Resilient AF sweaters made that not this one, but they're black with like white writing, and they were like really nice quality. And we had our new book, Resilient AF Volume 2, and we ran a contest. So we brought one of our authors, Simran, which was
Hmm.
amazing. She won. She sold the most books in our pre-sale. And then Kara, who's also one of our authors, Kara Sanchez, she's the editor-in-chief of Get Griefy magazine, and we've just developed a strategic partnership. We promote the shit out of them. They promote us. And the first issue of the year of their magazine, Get Griefy, is a collaboration issue between her community and ours. And not only am I a cover girl of grief, but I have on two covers now of grief magazines. It
Wow.
looks nice, hey?
It
Did you
looks
flip
really
through it
nice.
there? Like it
A little bit, but I need to order a
there's a
copy.
yeah. So this was a really cool experience, and like Kara's episode is, you could listen to it. It's out now. But it was great to have a team there because it is a lot of energy because the way it works is that the celebrities and media show up and they get escorted to your table and you tell them your story. And we're not really selling anything. We're just trying to spread the word on helping the world be more resilient. And I think it was really nice to have help and support there, photographers, like, especially because we want pictures of the celebrities holding the books and like the shirts. And I don't want to be in all these photos. Like, I want this to be about the community. I don't need it to be the
Hmm.
Blair show. It has been
Yeah.
because it's what happens in startups, but I really want to lead from behind and like amplify and lift. And so I
Yeah.
thought it was really amazing to give this experience to like our some of our community members. And we had some really, really great conversations. People who were at past events remembering us, coming up to us, people wanting to maybe do a documentary, be in our
Hmm.
book, partner. We have some cool things that are starting to happen, and I'll share them as they come because it's cool because, from showing up, these things are starting to happen. And
Yeah.
so that's the thing is consistency, showing up, building relationships. It's so important. Um, my favorite interaction was with Johnny, is it Whitworth?
Whitworth.
So my favorite movie of all time is
Empire Records.
Empire Records. It follows a group of motley teens working at a music store, trying to save it because it's about to get bought out by a corporation. And like this movie's from the 90s, 95. Fucking love it. Like I love it. Like I need to watch it again. I haven't watched it in a while. But anyways, so just that's a sidebar. So this one guy, like usually people are really excited to like get our stuff,
Mhm.
like books or sweaters or whatever, or they take them anyways. And these sweaters were like high quality. Like people liked them so much. They like Snoop Dogg's manager was like, "Can I have one for my daughter?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can." Like they're good. So he's kind of, walking by. He's very eccentric and I was like, I told him, I'm like, "Hey, like want one of our sweaters?" And we started chatting. So I didn't tell him our story at first, but he's like, and I gave him a sweater, and then I'm like, "Do you want a book?" He's, I'm not going to read it. So I'm just being honest. I'm like, "Okay, no problem." And he came back, gave us back the shirt. He's like, I'm not going to wear this. We're like, "That's cool, no problem." And then Kara tried to give him a sticker for his water bottle. He's like, "I don't want that energy exchange. Like, get griefy, my water bottle, everything's an energy." And then we told him the story of our project. He like lowered his sunglasses, but I told him like basically that everyone died. This is what we're doing. I have a black tourmaline stone on my neck. He asked me about it. That was probably the highlight of the conversation. And this whole time I was like, why does he look so familiar? And I'm so bad at knowing who people are. Like, I will recognize someone like Jason Momoa
Hmm.
or like Jennifer Aniston or Angelina Jolie, but I'm very bad at recognizing celebrities. Like I physically ran into Owen Wilson in Vancouver. Like I, worked at a store that celebrities would come through and like I wouldn't know who people were till like after they left because I have to look them up. Like,
Hmm.
someone's like this or that's so and so. I'm like, who? And I'm like, oh. So anyways, I look up this guy after. He's like, let's take a photo. So we took a photo with him, which was great with the shirt. And I looked him up after and he plays AJ, which is one of the main characters of Empire Records. So I thought that was really funny because I
Hmm.
actually didn't look that up right away. But the next
Yeah.
morning, I was recording a podcast with Kara for Meet Me Where I Am. So me, Kara,
Hmm.
and Grant Gary. Grant Gary came to our hotel and interviewed us, and he'll be on our show too. And in there, we're talking about favorite movies, and I mentioned Empire Records, and this is before I looked up Johnny and what he did because I wanted to go back and see who worked on
Yeah.
what. And I was just like, that is so funny. Like I was just talking about Empire Records and how much I loved it, and then I was like, oh my God. So if I see him again, now I could quote the movie to him.
Yeah. Or maybe he'll listen to this podcast, but
Yeah.
probably not.
Oh, Lana. Okay, so anyways, a lot of great people came through. You can check out our social media. We're like sharing who was there. Who was the highlight for you? I think I know the answer.
Sufi Bradshaw. Is that who you were gonna think?
Yeah, yeah.
Who played Sue on Veep, which is one of the best shows ever. Um, really good handshake. Maybe she'll listen to this. You have a really good handshake. And it was just like we were talking about Veep and how it's basically reality, um, and then she's been engaging with us on social media, and it was just so cool. I did get a heads up that she was coming through because I had a friend who was helping out escort, and she let me know as she was leaving, and so I was like, oh my gosh, I need to meet her.
Oh, that's
Like, I
funny.
love this show, so that was my highlight.
It was amazing. Yeah, and we met housewives and producers and like other
Hmm.
celebrities. And what was really cool is a lot of people came through who saw our names being Kaplan and they were also Jewish. And they would say, like, they would ask, like, are you Jewish? And I
Are you a
actually like
tribe member? Is
yeah, like
what
I
I
don't know,
got.
like for me it's just a really comforting thing. Like I don't know,
Yeah,
like I love meeting other like Jewish people who especially when they're excited to be Jewish. I
yeah.
mean, I also have a Magen David, like a Star of David on my neck, but sometimes it tucks away because of the length. But yeah, so and not just that, I'm sober and a few people coming through, very big celebrities, would share their story about being sober before me even sharing that with them. So it
Hmm.
was really cool to connect on that level about sobriety and seeing these people of influence wanting to support us and send us people to be part of the project is just really, really special. And so yeah, I would say it was a super big success. And being able to walk the red carpet with you, Alana, Simran, and Kara and
Hmm.
get photos, it was just really awesome.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And, this is our third time doing Heather's events. And they just get better and better every time. And we
Mhm.
get more confident every time. And it's really nice because some of the same people come through each time. And we've built relationships in a way with them. And
Yeah, like Big
um,
Percy, Snoop Dogg's manager. I think he also does work with like Paris Hilton, but like he's so comfortable with us. He like came and like sat behind our table, took off his shoes, like hung
yeah.
out.
Yeah. Oh, another highlight, sorry, was Patrika
Oh,
Darbo, who's from, I believe, General Hospital. Very, very funny woman. I think our video of her is on social, but
yeah,
yeah.
it's great. It's great. So yeah, so that was really good. And like someone that was there, may have given me a joint, and I was like, I don't know if I need this, but I didn't smoke it that day. Like I'm very much whatever. But Alana went home, and one of my
Hmm.
favorite bands, Slomosa, they're from Norway. They like never come to North America. They happened to be on a North American tour, and they weren't coming to Vancouver, which is the closest place to me that they would come. But they were in LA, opening for a band called Helmet while I was in LA. So I stayed an extra night, and I went to like a stoner rock punk metal show by myself. And like I was like, okay, I'll bring this. And if I make friends, I'll smoke it. Because I will not smoke weed alone. I don't like to smoke weed. I prefer edibles. I
Hmm.
don't do it all the time. Like I was only to enhance, never to escape. That's the rule. So anyways, I met this couple that were there also to see the opening band, Slamosa. Like not I didn't even know who Helmet really was until like I learned about these tickets. And so we bonded and like we shared it and we had a lot of fun and then we went and bought merch and we watched a bit of Helmet and then they left and I stayed a bit longer and had a really great time and I was home by like 10:30 because the show started at 7. And this it was a really great trip and I was ready to come home. Like I'm
Hmm.
tired and I have a lot of work to do, a lot of following up to do, but like it was a very exciting event. And if you're listening to this and you want to be involved in these gifting lounges, Heather's now booking for the Emmys in September and then next year's Oscars and some other stuff. You could reach out to me. My contact info is in the show notes, and I'll connect you to Heather because for visibility wise and like credibility wise and the type of exposure and connections you make, like you can't just do that. Like Hollywood comes to
Mm,
you. And it's a really cool way to get your brand out there. And I've brought in other brands that I know there, and it's as a marketing and PR specialist, like it's one of the best parts of our launch strategies.
completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
So anyways, yeah, I think like that's a good recap. Grief Week was like the saddest part was it ending.
Yep.
It was really like really beautiful. Next year we might be in Costa Rica for Grief Week. We're just finalizing those details now.
Hmm.
And if not, we'll be back at the Esmeralda Renaissance or whatever.
Yeah, we sure will.
Yeah, so if we're not in Costa Rica, we'll be in Palm Springs, so either the jungle or the desert. And yeah, I think like that's pretty much it. Like hopefully this was an interesting episode. Do you have anything else you want to share?
I'm trying to think. I mean, we covered it all. We did go to a cool place in Venice. So we only really talked about where we stayed, but we went to this cafe twice
Oh
called
yes,
Cafe
right.
Gratitude. And the way it's a vegan restaurant, and the way you order, like everything on the menu is like an affirmation, and the way you order is by saying like I am blessed, and then it's an acai bowl or whatever. And so we went there twice, and it was great. And I mean, it's vegan, so if you like
If you like
eggs
mung
and
beans,
meat, yeah, if you like eggs and meat, it's not for you. But if you like mung beans and other stuff, try it out.
it
It
was
was a
good.
very cool experience. It was a good
I think
experience.
they've been around for like 20 years. And like,
Yeah.
I've never had, like, we went there for dinner and then we went back for breakfast
Yeah.
and, or lunch or whatever. And I wanted eggs. Like, I'm someone who eats eggs every day. So I tried an omelet made with mung beans, and I don't even know what a mung bean is. And it was actually really delicious.
Hmm. Sorry, one other thing while we're on the topic of food. We went to this wonderful restaurant in Beverly Hills,
Oh, yeah.
La Dolce Vita, and it was dinner and a show because it's one of those restaurants where if you order Caesar salad, they do it at your table, and it was great. And the floor is leopard.
Yeah, like the whole restaurant is like my aesthetic, and I loved it. And like the staff was hilarious. Like everyone there, it felt like everyone there was kind of stuffy, but like me, you, and Kara were like a little bit more vibrant and like
Yeah,
engaging with the waiters and like the servers and the salad maker, and like we had a lot of fun. And the food was phenomenal, like
the food
so
was
good.
fantastic.
Yeah, and like I'm someone that like I'm fine going to like Target and getting like oatmeal and eggs and not eggs. I don't know, I said eggs. Oatmeal and yogurt and like snacks and energy bars, like not spending money at every meal. But like it's nice on each trip to go out one or two times, depending on how long we're there for like a nicer meal. And
Hmm.
this was definitely like I would go back.
100%. Also, like their dessert was like
Sticky,
sticky, and you needed to like it
but
was
it was
like
so good.
it was so good.
It was just like a
Everything.
really good dining experience, and me, you, and Kara had such a fun time. So shout out to like that dinner.
That dinner was fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that was amazing. So thanks for joining us on our third official Grief Week.
Yeah.
And now we've had two Palm Springs and a cruise. And every year is just going to be completely different. So as we start to solidify next year, we'll keep you updated on those plans. You know, we have a
Mm-hmm.
lot more episodes coming up with phenomenal guests, with some Blair and Alana sprinkled in there. We are now accepting submissions for our next two books, Resilient AF, Skin Deep Stories. If you have a tattoo that you got and there's a story behind it of resilience, we want to showcase you in our next book. That book is filling up fast. It's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful coffee table style book. We're launching it in early December in New York. Our event is booked. Our billboard is booked, by the way. Very exciting. I
So
was very
exciting.
productive yesterday. Back on my meds. I'm very productive. And then Resilient AF, Stories of Resilience, Volume 3. This is any story of resilience, of you overcoming a challenge. You do not need a tattoo for this book. And what that one's coming out in January, and that one's also filling up. So if you want to be a part of this, you want to be on a billboard in Times Square, you want your book handed out to celebrities and media at gifting lounges, you want to be a part of the movement, this is your chance. This is your time. These books are filling up faster and faster. We launched two books in 10 months,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and now we have these two books plus some other projects on the go. So We want to invite you to be a part of our community and listening to this podcast, engaging on social media, buying a book, reading the stories for free on our website. However you want to do it, we just want to invite you in. So, any final words?
No.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, I just want to say by the time this comes out, Alana, your birthday, March 9th. By the time this comes out on
Mm.
Tuesday, it's after that. So happy birthday to you. Happy Earth birth. We did another lap. Happy birthday to my one and my only that I know of sisters.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Only sister. Also, I do have to say, because it is coming out after my birthday, next time we meet, um, I might have a surprise.
Oh, okay. I'm excited. I also sent you something in the mail. Did you get it?
No, but I haven't checked my mail in a couple days.
You probably should check your mail.
Okay.
Check it every day because I sent you something.
Okay.
It's fun mail. It's not a bill. Speaking of
Okay.
bill, the collections from Manitoba telephone services, that's one thing that like when people die, things like
Oh
get
boy.
missed. And like our mom died 4 years ago, and like MTS is like sending me not to collections, but like demanding payment for something.
It's
So
just like, you know what? Write it off as bad debt, MTS. She's
yeah.
dead.
Yeah. Anyways,
She's dead.
fuck you, MTS. But not to you listeners. I'm grateful for all of you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
on
So
that note, yeah.
yeah, so thank you for tuning into another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. We're here to create this space, to have these conversations, to let you into the good, the bad, the ugly, the messy, the silly, everything in between. Life is full of challenges. It's hard. Life is hard, but there's also these beautiful moments, and
Mhm.
we want to walk with you through the darkness, through the light. We want to be that lighthouse in the storm. You're not alone, my friends. You are Resilient AF. That's a wrap for another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. And thank you for listening. Are you feeling inspired to bounce forward?
Let's connect at theglobalresilienceproject.com, where you can read many stories of resilience, buy our books, shop our clothing line, learn more about how to strengthen your resilience muscle, be empowered, and more.
Remember, friends, you are Resilient AF.